Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode here in NHL 22. So the time has finally come. It is time for the Stanley Cup Finals against the Ottawa Senators, which I really didn't know if this team was going to be capable of going through all these teams we faced before, but we managed to get to the finals in only our second ever playoff matchup, or playoff series, I guess you could say, because we took on Colorado last year and lost to them in the first round. It was a really tough Colorado team, but our team got some valuable experience. And then this year, all of a sudden, this team really clicked off the season. And then in the playoffs, we also did really good so far through the first three rounds. It's been a pretty up and down kind of playoff run for us to an extent, because we swept the San Jose Sharks, which was really good. We went up 3-0 on the Winnipeg Jets, and then they stormed back with 2 wins, which made me think that we were going to get reverse swept, but then we won in overtime, and we survived and went on to the conference finals. And then we faced the Edmonton Oilers, and we had a 2-0 series leading on them, but they bounced back with 2 wins, and I got kind of scared again. We then took a 3-2 series lead, and I felt like this series was probably going to still go to 7 games, but magically, in Game 6 with less than, I think it was a couple minutes left or something like that, or a couple seconds left, Filip Zadina won us the game and put us to the Stanley Cup Finals, which was not what I was expecting. And we took out Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and now we're going for our first Stanley Cup against a very tough Ottawa Senators team, which might be the toughest of teams we have to face, because they have some really good depth and stuff like that in every position pretty much. So I will show you guys their lines and stuff like that again before we simulate, but we do have one comment to go over, because I am recording this the day you guys saw the last episode, just because I really want to get into this and see if we can win this Stanley Cup or not. So that comment is from Half Silly. He says, "It's a sweep for us, not them. Florida did the exact same thing in '96 and got swept by the Avs. I feel pretty confident about the situation, and I think you should feel the same." So he thinks that we should be able to sweep the Ottawa Senators, which, I mean, it's going to be a really tough task based on how their roster looks, but you never know. Could end up happening, because basically the Ottawa Senators have won series in 4, 5, and 6 games, while us, obviously, we won in 4 and in 2 in 6 games. So this is the Ottawa Senators team, though. They have Brady Tkachuk, Connor Bedard, who's jumped up to a 95 right at the end of his ELC, which is absolutely nuts. This guy's literally going to be a 97 overall, like McDavid is and stuff like that. He's also playing with Connor Brown, so very good first line. Second line-wise, they have Benoit Olivier Gruel, who's just returning back from injury, with Tim Stützle and Colin White. Third line-wise, you have Frank Vatrano, Josh Norris, and Alex Formenton, so you can see that center depth is insane. And the fourth line of DeZingle, Batherson, and Lehkonen. So yeah, that center core is absolutely insane. The wingers are really solid as well, so that forward core is definitely no slouch. Defensively, they have Devon Tays and Eric Branstrom, so a pretty solid pairing. Second pairing, you have Forsling and Thompson, so a little bit weaker. And in the third pairing, you have Brendan Dillon, and yes, Sean Monahan is currently playing defense. The reason being is because they do have an injury to Thomas Chabot. He was recently injured, so we don't know how long he's out for, but hopefully he's out for the series, because that will give us definitely a good chance of winning. And they also have Shane Pinto. So yeah, if Chabot is to return the series, though, they'd probably knock Monahan off defense, and then basically Monahan would go here on the forward core, which would actually make this team even more gross. So they'd probably end up scratching DeZingle or Lehkonen, I would assume. But yeah, this is a very scary team, and they also have some good goalies in Saros and DeSmith, so should be a really interesting series for the most part. Obviously, both these teams have never won a Stanley Cup before in their history, unless Ottawa's already won one in this franchise mode, but I don't think they have. I could be wrong with that, though. So yeah, that's basically their lineup, and I think that's pretty much it. I'll show you guys our lineup again going into the Stanley Cup Finals, and then I'll also show you guys actually what their ratings are compared to us, and then we'll get into the first game of the Stanley Cup Finals. So here's our lines by comparison. You got Agostino, Farinacci, and Shelley. These three together have been amazing, and that's why they're the top line. Second line has Genther, Hayton, and Zadina. Third line, Gauthier, Geekie, and Ponomarev. Geekie and Ponomarev have been probably our weakest players so far, as they're really bad in terms of plus-minus, but everybody else has been pretty good. And then fourth line-wise, we got Braden Tracy, Boone Jenner, who's been pretty solid, and Joel Armia. On defense, we have Chigrin and Soderstrom, Timmins and Samorukov, Bodang, and Yoki Haru. And goalie-wise, we have Lenefeld, who's been a playoff beast so far, and Jack Campbell, who has not been that great. And then depth-wise, we still have David Gustafsson. We called up Tukinen in the last episode as well because we did have a defensive injury. I believe it was to Samorukov. So Tukinen is now one of our depth defensemen, and we did send down J.J. Moser. But we also have Carl Henriksson as a depth forward in case we need to throw in somebody on that fourth line if there's an injury or something like that. But I think our team still looks pretty damn good, and I'm very excited to see what we could do in the Stanley Cup Finals. Now let's quickly take a look at the overall comparison in the Play Now screen, just because I'm kind of curious who has the better offense, the defense, and stuff like that based on this game. So let's see what else. We're rated 93, 93, 84. We're only better than them at defense. And their offense is 94, what did it say? 94, 86, did I see? 94-86. So yeah, they're just a bit better than us goaltending wise, and are just a bit better offensively than us. So if our defense could hold up and play just the way they've been playing, then we have definitely a shot at beating them. But we got to contain like Connor Bedard, Stützle, a lot of those guys on that forward core pretty much in order to win this series. And also quickly before we actually get into this, just because I want to show you guys this again, I think I showed you at the end of the last episode, but basically how the Ottawa Senators got to the Cup Finals. They took out Tampa Bay in 5 games, Toronto in 6 games, and Philadelphia in 7. Well, for us, like I was just mentioning, we took out the Sharks in 4, and then also the Jets and the Oilers both in 6 games. So we've eliminated 2 Canadian teams so far. Hopefully we can eliminate a third. That would be pretty nice. But yeah, let's get into game number 1. We have home ice advantage because the Ottawa Senators had less than 50 wins, which is kind of surprising based on how good their roster is. So here we go, game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals, the first time it's ever been in Arizona. Let's see what happens. First period, and wow, okay, that's one way to start a period. So Boone Jenner early scores in the Stanley Cup Finals, less than a minute in. But then Connor Bedard gets 2 goals on Lennefeldt, and Agostino answers back. So this might be a bit of an offensive series, who knows, which might screw with Lennefeldt's numbers because Lennefeldt has been a really good player for the first 3 rounds. So hopefully it's not too bad of a scoring series. Shots are 13-12 in favor of us, but it's a 2-2 game. Let's see if we can contain Bedard a little bit better because he has 2 goals already, which is really scary. Second period, and we are up 4-3. Let's go, Zadina and Baudin. Taze, though, gets them back within 1. Yeah, this is definitely an offensive series so far. Hopefully it kind of like slows down a little bit in game 2. But the shots are 22-21 in favor of Ottawa, but we are up by 1 goal. Let's see what happens here in the third. And Genther is going to make it 5-3. Let's go. Always nice to see Dylan Genther scoring, and Tim Stützle makes it a 1-goal game again. Damn, poor Lennefeldt. He's allowing a lot of goals, but we'd have to have a series where we allowed a lot of goals because we've been pretty good defensively for the first 3 rounds, and Formanton makes it 5-5, but Genther answers back and it's 6-5. Final few minutes of this game. And we are going to lock it down and win 6-5 in game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. So I feel bad for Lennefeldt because he's allowed a lot of goals, but still 32 saves. And still another win to add to his win column. But that was a pretty crazy game. Did Genther have a hat trick? Or no? No, Genther had 2 goals. Okay. I was going to say, if Genther had a hat trick in the first ever playoff game or Stanley Cup Finals game, that would have been pretty nuts. Okay, so that is game number 1 underway. Or not underway. Finished and completed. And we won a game, which is good. So Jenner from Armia and Yoki Haru. Then Bedard scored his 11th and 12th of the playoffs, which is pretty crazy. He's scoring a lot of goals. Agostino gets 1 from Chikrin and Armia. Zadina from Hayton and Genther. Bonin from Yoki Haru and Gigi. And Genther from Hayton and Zadina. And Genther from Zadina and Chikrin. So good to see that second line getting a lot of points there, I think. Yeah, so Zadina, Genther both had 3 points. Yoki Haru had 2 points. Same with Chikrin, Hayton, and Armia. So a lot of guys had multi-point games. And no minus players on the team too. But yeah, not a great game from Lennefeldt. Hopefully he could play better next game. But then again, the Ottawa Senators are so good offensively that it might be a little bit hard to contain that. Let's take a look at the Sens quickly. Yeah, Bedard had a 4-point game. We got to definitely contain that top 6 a lot better if we can. And yeah, not a good game from UC Saros. 3 stars in game 1. Genther gets 1st star, Bedard the 2nd star, and Zadina the 3rd. Thank God for that late goal from Genther, because or else I felt like we were going to lose that game in overtime or something like that. Let's sim up to a game number 2. We still have home ice advantage, and we're in another back-to-back game situation, which is a little weird. But let's see what happens. See if we could go up 2-0 headed to Ottawa. That would be definitely the best way we could do it. Because if we are to have a tie series headed to Ottawa, they might use their home ice to their advantage. Because some teams like to do that. So, game number 2. Still on home ice. Let's see if we could take a 2-0 series lead here. First period, and we're down 1-0. I'll take that, I guess, because it's a better defensive period than last game. Shots are 10-9 in favor of us, but we're down by 1 goal as Alex Formanton has their goal. Second period, and we're down by 2. That's not good. Connor Brown on the power play. The shots are 22-19 in favor of them, but we're down by 2 goals to start the third. Can we have a third period come back here in game number 2? Penalty kill. Nicely done. Power play for us, and we score 1. It's Calvin Shelley on the power play. Another 5-on-3, and Shelley scores another power play goal, and then Agostino scores a power play goal. Holy crap. I don't think I've ever seen a team score 3 power play goals in the span of like 1 minute almost. Brandstrom then ties the game right back up 3-3. But what a surge from the power play in the third period. Our power play has not changed at all since the first round, I think. But what a surge from Shelley and Agostino. Shelley scores at 15:57, less than a minute later, or just over a minute later actually. He scores at 14:49, and then Agostino scores at 14:03. But Brandstrom tied the game up, of course. Shots are 30-30, and it's a 3-3 game after the third period, so a lot of threes. Let's see what happens here in overtime. See if we could win game 2 on a crazy game it's been so far. And no, we can't. God damn it. Drake Batherson scores, of course. He's on the 4th line for that team. And we lose in game number 2 in overtime. Shots were even, but unfortunately we just could not get it done. But we did have a good power play in that third period. And we could have lost that game by a lot more. But we at least brought it to overtime. So Shelley from Farinacci and Agostino, Shelley from Farinacci and Agostino again, and then Agostino from Farinacci and Hayton. So, yeah, Agostino, Farinacci, and Shelley. Those 3 guys are my favorite players in the series easily. Or in this entire YouTube series. The 3 of them get 3 stars as well. Agostino gets 1st, Shelley to 2nd, and Farinacci to 3rd. Interesting. But unfortunately, we lost that game, which kind of sucks. Our defense needs to definitely play a little bit better, or else I might have to throw in Tukinen. And Soderstrom's back to full health, which is good, but I think he was already in the lineup, right? Yeah. So maybe that's why we allowed a lot of goals, is because he was kind of injured still. I don't know. But we have a 1-1 series headed to Ottawa, which is kind of scary. I don't really know if I want to make any line changes yet, because we could score a lot of goals and keep up with them, but we also want to contain them a little bit better. You know, I'm going to split up Soderstrom and Chychrun, I think, just to negate that chemistry a little bit, because both these guys are really offensively minded, while Timmins is kind of two-way-ish, but I think I will keep it like that instead. Might be a little bit of a bad decision, but I think I'm going to do that. And yeah, Linnefeld's numbers are terrible by comparison to the first few rounds. Like, I could honestly give Jack Campbell another chance, but I don't really think it's necessary right now. But eventually that might come to us to do that. And then in terms of our lineup, I feel like I should move the top line back to the way it was. Which kind of sucks because I don't want to move Agostino from playing with Shelley and Farinacci, but I am going to move them back down even though they've been producing. It's just more to get something a little bit different for our team. Geeky is a -9 now, which is really kind of questionable, so I think I'm going to move him back to the 4th line, move Jenner back up, see if that helps out anything in terms of defense a little bit, because our team definitely needs to play a little bit better defensively like we were doing in the first 3 rounds. So a little bit of changes going into game number 3, just because I don't really like how we've been playing defense. Our offense has been good, but our defense definitely needs to change it up a bit. Let's get into game number 3 and see if we could win some games here on the road, because they are pretty crucial to at least win one of them. First period, and we're up 2-0. Let's go. 2 more power play goals. Damn. Literally in the last 2 periods of play, we've had 5 power play goals. That's actually insane. I don't think I've seen a power play do that well in simulation. Shots are 14-8 in favor of us. We're up 2-0 as Hayton and Genther got our goals. Second period. God damn it. They answered back with 2 goals. Oh, I feel like I have to take a Linnefeld out for a game. Give him a little bit of rest or something. That's not good. They answer back with 2 goals. It's Gruel and Bedard. Of course, Bedard is literally So good on this team. Shots are 21-20 in favor of us. We've blown a 2-0 lead. Let's see if we could bounce back in the lead or something in the third period. Come on, boys. And Connor Brown gives the Sens the lead, of course. We've blown a 2-0 lead now. I might take Lenefeld out next game and give Jack Campbell a chance, because I feel like maybe Lenefeld's just playing too much games consecutively. Come on, boys. Can we tie this game up? We don't have a lot of time left, and no, we can't. Bedard makes it 4-2, and that's all she is going to write in Game 3 as we are down in the series 2-1. I think this is one of the first time we've trailed in the series, which is kind of crazy. We were up 2-0, but then we fell apart. Not good, and it's only been our power play that's been scoring too, so. Oh, it might be that, yeah, it's that Bonin and Jokiharju pairing that's not been that good, so I think we're going to throw Tukinen in and take Jokiharju out of the lineup, or Bonin, one of the two of them, just to change up things a bit. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do, because I'm not really liking how they've been playing defense so far. And we definitely need to bounce back and see if we could get this series tied up. I think I'm also going to, like I said, take a Lenefeld out of game, which might end up losing me the Stanley Cup. But I think it's the right move because he has been kind of peppered so far in this round. If we give him a night off, maybe Jack Campbell could play better, that type of thing. So we'll go back to Campbell for a game, even though he was terrible in his only game he's played so far. And defensively, who are we taking out? We're going to take out Jokiharju, I think. Actually, wait, Tukinen plays on the left side, but doesn't he also play right side? Let me just see what he plays. He can play right side as well, but he's a left-handed defenseman. So I think I'm going to actually take out Baudin. And we got to make sure this chemistry works. I think it's bugged right now, so let me go out of the screen for a second and make sure the chemistry is okay. Yeah, okay, it's okay right now. Let's go back to that for the top pairing. Move Samorukov down with Jokiharju, because Tukinen's a little bit more offensive, I think, than Samorukov is. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. And does that give Tukinen power play time? It does not. That's okay, though. Our power play really doesn't need to be addressed anyways. Tukinen's getting some penalty kill time. That's okay with me as well. Okay. So basically that's the changes, taking Baudin out of the lineup and putting Tukinen. And then Jack Campbell is getting his first game in the playoffs since whenever he lost that one game against the Jets really badly, I think it was. So let's see if he could get the win, and then we'll go back to a Lenefeld for next game, just because a Lenefeld might be back and rested. Hopefully that is the case. But let's see if we could tie the series up here, because we definitely need a win here. If we lose this game, we probably will end up losing the Stanley Cup Finals. First period, and we're down 1-0, not good. Drake Batherson scores. The shots are 9-8 in favor of us, but we are down by 1 goal. So not a terrible period from Jack Campbell, but our offense hopefully could start scoring a little bit more 5-on-5, because it's only been the power play so far lately. Second period, we're down 3-0. This is not good. We're going to lose the Stanley Cup Finals, it seems like. Lehkonen and Bedard score. You can't contain Connor Bedard, it seems like, at all. And we're down 3-0 going into the third. Shots are 25-14 in favor of them. This game's probably a write-off, to be honest. Agostino scores to break the shutout. That's good to see. And also good to see us score 5-on-5, but we are still down by quite a few goals. Geeky makes it a 3-2 game. Okay, it's a 1-goal game, boys. Can we tie this up, please? Power play? We can't score. Come on, boys. We need one more goal to tie this up, or else we're down 3-1 in the series. And that is still going to be the case. As we lose another game, we've lost 3 straight games against the Sens team since that crazy game 1. Damn it. Not a bad game from Jack Campbell still, but our offense is needing to score. Geeky only got his first goal in the playoffs in that game. Oh, man. Who has been minus so far? It's the top 6 and stuff like that. That's not good. But yeah, Jack Campbell is pretty good. Definitely a good rebound game. I am going to go back to edit lines and put Lenefeld back in, but we are going to have to make some drastic line changements to try and get us to win 3 straight games, or else we're going to lose our first Stanley Cup Finals, which is not good. I didn't expect us to be down 3-1. I expected to be a little bit closer, to be honest, but that's not good. We'll go back to Farinacci and Shelley up there, and let's go back to Geeky up there, Jenner back down. Who do we have a scratched again? Henriksen. Solid offense, solid defense. Gustafson's more defensively minded. I don't know if there's anybody I really want to take out of the lineup. Do I take Geeky out of the lineup even though he just scored? I think I got to take somebody off that third line. Ponomarev has 76 on faceoffs. Geeky can't really take faceoffs. How has his faceoff percentage been in this playoffs so far? Not good. I think I'm going to take Connor Geeky out of the lineup, which a lot of you guys are probably going to be like, why? But this kid has not been good defensively. He's got 6 points in 20 games. Sure, that's okay, I guess. But -8. Yikes. So we are going to take him out, and I am going to give a chance to somebody like, I think, Offseason, because he's more defensive. Or we could just throw another offensive player. Actually, Henriksen's pretty good in both ends of the ice. We're going to give it to Henriksen and give Henriksen a shot on that third line. He's actually better at faceoffs than Ponomarev, so Ponomarev will still play on the wing. But Henriksen will be in the lineup instead of Geeky, just because I really don't trust him right now because of how bad he's been playing. And we technically have nothing to lose at this point, except for the Stanley Cup, I guess. But Tukinen was a +2 in that game he played, I think, or he's been a +2 in the playoff games he's played so far, which is good. Actually, no, he hasn't been. He's a -1 so far. Yeah, I think I'll just leave the rest of his lineups the same. Maybe change up our penalty kill a little bit. Any minus players? Not really. And maybe we'll just leave it the same, I guess. Yeah, we'll leave the rest of that the same. Hopefully we can win 3 straight games, because this is probably the chance where we end up losing the Stanley Cup if we can't win another game, obviously. But the Linnefeld's back in net. We made some drastic changes to our lineup, including scratching Geeky. We have nothing to lose at this point. Are we going to be losing the Stanley Cup Finals to the Ottawa Senators, or are we going to be able to somehow win 3 straight games? Let's do a real-time simulation just because this is a crucial game on home ice. Let's see if we can get the win here. Come on, boys. Let's get that opening goal. We can't score on the power play, which is not a good sign because that power play was doing good earlier in the series. But we are out shooting him so far, which is nice. But Saros is playing really good so far, and it's scoreless after 1. Shots are 13-5 in favor of us, so I like that start, but I don't really like that we haven't scored yet so far. It kind of is not good. Second period underway. Come on, boys. Let's get that first one. Power play opportunity again. And once again, we cannot score on the power play. That's not good. That power play was our bread and butter, but now it's not really that case. Penalty kill. Nicely done, boys. And of course, Brady Tkachuk opens the scoring. He's actually from Arizona, isn't he? Or is he from St. Louis? I can't even remember, but we're down 1-0 going into the third period. Jack Campbell was thrown in net again for some reason, so I don't know if a Linnefeld got hurt. I thought I put a Linnefeld back in, but I guess not. But this is not good. We are 1 period away from losing the Stanley Cup Finals. Let's see if we can tie this one up and stay alive. Come on, boys. Come on, Calvin Shelley. You don't want to lose the Stanley Cup Finals. Oh, man, this team is really not doing that well after Game 1. And we probably are going to end up losing this, right? Unless somebody wants to be a late game hero. Final few minutes of this game. And we're going to lose the Stanley Cup Finals to the Ottawa Senators. That really hurts. I thought this team had a chance this year. Half silly also thought we had a chance to win the Stanley Cup this year. This team was doing so good, but we just could not get past that deep Sens team. Connor Bedard literally just killed us, and same with Brady Tkachuk. That like top 6 in general. Oh, that really sucks. And of course it was Henriksen's line that was minus. Campbell was really good in that game, and I guess the Linnefeld didn't start, but that really sucks. 3 stars in that game, Saros, Campbell, and Brady Tkachuk. But our team should be another really good team again next season because we do have young guys jumping up in the system. But I really wanted to win that Stanley Cup. And of course, we lose to my favorite team in the NHL in real life. Let's take a look at our player stats and the awards and stuff like that once we advance today. See who won what. And then we'll sim up to the draft and stuff like that. Okay, so player stats first, and then we'll take a look at the team stats as well, actually, for the playoffs, because I'm kind of curious on that. Barrett Hayden had a really good playoffs. Luckily, we still have him signed up for another 2 seasons, so that's really good. But yeah, he was over point per game this playoff run, and he's looking pretty solid. Farinacci was incredible. He still needs his next contract, which is going to be this offseason, so he's going to want a lot of money, more than likely, because he's been over point per game in every area so far. General 11 points was really good. Geeky was probably our worst player again. Like, Geeky and Ponomarev, both of them really struggled defensively and offensively. Like, Ponomarev only having 1 assist was not good enough. Maybe I should have scratched him instead of Geeky, I don't know. Then left wing wise, Agostino was really good, Ganther was really good, Zadina was really good. I don't know if we trade away Zadina this offseason because of his cap hit or not. We might eventually have to. And Tracy was pretty good too. So a lot of players doing really good for us this playoff run, but we don't win. Shelley was really quiet in terms of scoring, except for that one game. He had 14 points in 21 games, 10 goals, 4 assists. Armia 10 points, and Gauthier only 4 points. So yeah, it seems like that third line was really quiet. And there's a good chance that somebody like Julian Gauthier does not come back this offseason because of younger guys jumping up. Defensively, Chikrin was pretty good as well. Timmins was pretty solid. Most of our defensemen were pretty good, I'd say. And then goalie-wise, Alenefelt was really good, but he just kind of dropped the ball in the first few games of the Cup Finals. And then Jack Campbell was on his way back to being good, but still 0-3 in 3 games. Oh, that really sucks. Let's take a look at the team stats just to see what we were doing good at in that Stanley Cup Finals and stuff like that. Probably not much, except for the power play, I would assume. So, goals for per game. We were still one of the best offensive teams, but the Ottawa Senators were right there as well, and you can see why they beat us. We were pretty much identical in terms of goals for and goals against in a sense, but we allowed 1 more goal than they did during the entire playoffs. Our power play was better, probably because of that Cup Finals, though, and our penalty kill was a little bit worse. We were really good on home ice, but we were struggling on the road in those playoffs. Interesting. So that is that. Let's take a look at the awards, see who won what this year. So obviously Ottawa wins the Stanley Cup. Toronto won the President's Trophy, and it was us and Ottawa in the Cup Finals. McDavid wins the Art, Ross and the Hart. Chikrin won the Norris, so that's really good to see. I don't think I've had a Norris winner in quite a long time in a franchise mode. Sprong won the Lady Byng. Tubert wins the Calder for New Jersey. Bedard won the Conn Smythe, not a surprise. That kid's incredible. And imagine winning a Conn Smythe in your 3rd NHL season. And then Vezina winner is Chris Drieger with Toronto, and the Jennings winner is also him, and Gavin Bjorklund, I think that is. Braden McNabb wins the Masterton. Jeffrey for San Jose wins the Jack Adams. Bergeron the Selke in Seattle. That's a little weird. McDavid the Lindsay, and Austin Matthews wins the Richard. Any AHL awards for us or no? Out of curiosity. No AHL awards. That's kind of surprising with how stacked our AHL team is this year. But there's also a good chance that Jack Campbell doesn't come back and Wallsted's our backup next year. So there might be a lot of guys moving on from this team, but also we do have a lot of young guys that will be jumping up. So hopefully that helps us being a better team next year. But let's sim up to the draft and find out like all the off-season retirements and stuff like that. And then take a look at whose contracts are up for renewal, progress reports, and then that'll be it for this episode. So Calgary has the 1st overall pick, followed by Boston, Chicago, Nashville, and the Islanders. Interesting. Any big retirements this year? Malkin, Backstrom, Giroux. Nobody really super important. And then goalie-wise, the best goalie to retire this year is Jonathan Quick, Ben Bishop, and Jarro Halak. Brian Elliott was also up there. Interesting. So those are the retirements. And Claude Giroux, Brian Getzlav, Eric Carlson, and Joe Pavelski are all now coaches, which is interesting. Did we lose any coaches ourselves? Does not look like it. No, we did not. That's good. And we'll continue simulating. And that is that. Actually, 1 second. I do need to take a quick look at our player stats in a little bit more depth sense, because Jeff is keeping a tab on basically every single franchise mode I did, so he wants to see like power play points in the playoffs and stuff like that. So in case you wanted to look at this portion, Jeff, here's like the power play points, shorthanded points, and that type of thing. So I'll just scroll through this in case you weren't able to see that. And there we go. And goalie stats I think are fine, so that's good. Okay, so now that that is done, And we are up at the draft. Let's take a look at our progress reports and the contract situation, and then we'll take a look at the draft class. But our team should be another contending team next year. We should end up winning the Stanley Cup soon, I think. But a lot of statistical growth, probably from Chychrun and Fernacci mostly. Shelley also getting a lot of statistical, but some natural growth as well. Geeky's getting some growth. Hayton's getting some good growth as well naturally. A lot of also statistical growth. Geez, Zadina's up to an 87. That's good. But yeah, next year we'll probably have we'll also maybe have to get rid of Bondet and Yoki Haru this offseason and bring in Schneider and Tukinen into the lineup. That also is probably a change we're going to make. In the system-wise, development, let's take a look at overall-wise. There's a lot of guys that could end up jumping into the NHL next season. Like I said, Wallsted's probably going to be our backup. We got Lawrence, who could be jumping up soon. Varlamov, Sadikov. What else we got here? McGillis is soon. Schultz is soon. There's just way too much good talent in the AHL that might jump up. So we're probably going to have to make room for some of them to get into the NHL. And there's some goalie prospects. Pedersen, that medium elite goalie we drafted, is up to a 72 at 19. That's really outstanding. Not what I was expecting. When did we draft this guy again? 4th round. Okay, so we do have a goalie of the future as well, which is good. Just in case Lenefeld doesn't really sniff the par, you know. There's that. And let's take a look at our contract situation, and then we'll take a look at that draft class. So, all expiring this offseason. So, Fernacci's the big one. We probably could just do a 1-year deal for now and then wait till he's an RFA again next year and then get him for 8 years. But there's a chance he could assimilate a lot better this season, so I don't know if we want to lock him up for 8 years now. He wants 13.8, which is a lot, so we'll take that into account. Timmins is also up this offseason, which is probably one of our bigger ones. He wants like $5 million, and he is a pretty good top 4 defenseman, so I wouldn't mind keeping him around, but it's going to be probably a little bit tough too, who knows. Ponomarev, we could always trade away, which might make no sense, but he's not really a good defensive player, it seems like, for that bottom 6, so he could end up being trade bait, or we could just re-sign him for a few seasons. Gauthier might leave. He's more than likely going to leave, but he doesn't really want that much. Boone Jenner would be another guy that could leave, but he could come back. We also have Armia, who's up for renewal. Beaudain's up for renewal as well, but he's an RFA, so once again, he might be one of these guys we just let go to free agency because we probably will fill in Schneider instead and Tukinen, I would assume, because that top 6 pairing's been probably the most problematic. Tracy doesn't want too much, which is good. Achari's gone, that type of thing. And then in terms of goalies up for renewal, we could give Lenefeld probably like a 5-year deal, probably get him to like $5 million if we want to. Jack Campbell's probably gone, and like I was saying, I think Wallstead should be an NHL goalie next year, even if he wants a 2-way deal. And that's pretty much that. All our unsigned prospects, a lot of them are going to be needing contracts too. These guys are going to need to be in the AHL, which means we are going to have to free up contract spaces because we're currently at 50 of 50. So we might have to let go of some guys in the AHL, which kind of sucks. So there is that. And finally, let's take a quick look at the draft class, and then that'll be it for this episode. So draft class wise, wow, this looks like an interesting draft. Some gems early on. But we're probably not drafting all the way till like 30th or something, right? Or 31st, I guess. So we could grab more defensive prospects. We could grab some winger prospects. Anybody that's supposed to be really good. That guy looks okay. Might be a good goalie. There's another goalie prospect that might be decent. I might end up drafting more goalies because why not? Always good to have good goalies. Any low lead potential players that are in like late rounds that we could snag up? There is. Okay, low lead right winger Keaton Thomas. Definitely think he's a part of the future for this team. Marcus Vasyunov. Might not be that great, but he is a low elite. We'll pin him. And then there's this guy who also might be low elite, and he's 3 years away potentially in Ross Kachuk. So we'll pin him. But yeah, this draft might have some good low elites, which is nice. So that is that, and that's going to do it for this episode of our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take it to the draft and re-sign stage. as we look to get this team competitive again for next season, and hopefully next year we could win our first Stanley Cup, if not, hopefully in a few years. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.